Hello and welcome. Today we're digging into a pretty wild new idea. What if a ship didn't just pollute less, but could actually clean the ocean as it sailed? Let's just start with that question, right? Imagine for a second a future where these massive vessels crossing our oceans aren't just a problem we're trying to manage, but are actively working to fix the marine environment. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's the real idea behind a concept called the sea purifier.
Okay, so to really get why this solution is such a big deal, we first need to get our heads around the full scale of the problem. And trust me, it's a lot bigger and weirder than most of us think.
When you picture ship pollution, what do you see? Probably a big smokestack, right? Thick smoke pouring out. And yeah, that's definitely part of it, but it's really just the most obvious part, kind of like the tip of the iceberg. The reality is that a ship leaves behind this complex trail of pollution everywhere it goes, in the air, in the water, and even in the soundscape of the ocean. And this is where it gets really eye-opening. You've got the stack soot, sure, with those tiny nasty PM 2.5 particles, but look at all this other stuff. You've got microscopic bits of metal and paint that are constantly wearing off the hull and propeller. Then there's the incredible underwater noise that messes with marine life, and all of this gets even worse during harbor operations. It's basically a multi-front attack on the ocean from just one vessel. So when you have a problem that's this complicated, a simple one-shot solution just isn't going to cut it. You need a whole system, and that is exactly what the sea purifier is designed to be. Let's break down what this actually is. The sea purifier isn't just one gadget. It's a whole collection of technologies that work together, built right into the ship. Its job is to capture its own pollution, shield wildlife from its presence, and this is the part that's a total game changer, to potentially leave the water it passes through even healthier than it found it. So how does it pull all this off? Let's get into the details and break down the key modules that take on each part of that hidden footprint we just talked about. First up, let's tackle the air. This thing is called the exhaust spiral sponge, which is a fantastic name because that's pretty much what it is. It's a module that sits right inside the smokestack. It uses a special kind of filter and a bit of an electrostatic charge to literally grab onto those superfine PM 2.5 particles and acid gases, pulling them out of the exhaust before they can get into the atmosphere. And here's what that actually means in practice. We are not talking about a small improvement here. The target for this one module is to remove somewhere between 60 and 80% of those fine particles. That's a massive reduction in air pollution coming from just one ship. Okay, so now let's move to the water. A huge, kind of invisible source of pollution is just the wear and tear on the ship itself. So the propeller hub purifier is a device that fits around the propeller. It actually uses the ship's own motion to suck in the water right around it and filter out all those tiny paint and metal particles right at the source before they have a chance to spread out. Now this next piece of tech is really cool. It's called the Clean Wake Bubble Curtain. This system releases this, curtain of tiny bubbles behind the ship. But these aren't just regular bubbles. They're infused with special materials. Think of them like tiny, sticky sponges that are designed to grab onto microplastics and other gunk floating in the ship's wake. The system then collects all of it at the back of the ship. And the potential here is huge. The goal is to capture up to 70% of floating microplastics. This works especially well when the ship is moving slow, like in a port, which is often where this kind of pollution is most concentrated. Grabbing that much plastic before it drifts out to sea would be a major, major win. So beyond just cleaning, the system is also designed to protect wildlife directly. This happens in two main ways. First, there's deterrent optics, which is basically a fancy way of saying they use special paint patterns that make the ship less confusing or attractive to birds and marine mammals, hopefully preventing collisions. And second, acoustic mitigation, tackling that massive problem of underwater noise by using smarter engine mounts and insulation to make the whole ship quieter. And these goals are really significant. Now, a 3 decibel reduction might not sound like much to us, but in the world of sound, that's actually cutting the noise power in half. For an animal like a whale that depends on sound to navigate and communicate, that could literally be a lifeline. So you've got all these different modules for the air, the water, for wildlife. How do they all work together without getting in each other's way? Well, that's where the brains of the operation comes in, the Neptune AI. The Neptune AI is essentially the conductor of this entire orchestra. It's smart, it knows where the ship is, and it tells each module what to do. So if the ship is in a port, it cranks everything up to maximum cleaning mode. In a strict emission control area, it focuses on scrubbing the exhaust. Out in the open ocean, it dials things back to save energy. And if it enters a marine sanctuary, it goes into stealth mode, as quiet and as clean as it can possibly be. It's an intelligent system for a constantly changing environment.
When you put all this together, it leads to a pretty fundamental shift in how we think. It's a total reimagining of a ship's role in the ocean.
One of the biggest roadblocks for new green technology is always the cost. And this is where the sea purifier concept gets really smart. Instead of making ship owners buy all this expensive hardware up front, the idea is to offer it as a service, a subscription. They're calling it clean shipping as a service, where you pay for the performance, for how much pollution is actually captured. This just gets rid of that huge initial cost and makes it way more likely for companies to actually adopt it. But the vision here goes even further than just doing less harm. This quote really gets to the heart of it. The ultimate goal is to actively contribute to the health of the ocean. And this is the most amazing part, the blue positive goal. That same bubble curtain system can be used to gently dissolve oxygen back into the water. A lot of ports and harbors have water that's oxygen depleted, which is terrible for the ecosystem. A ship with this tech could literally breathe life back into the water as it passes through, turning a vessel from a source of damage into an agent of healing. So in the end, the sea purifier concept completely challenges our idea of what shipping has to be. It paints a picture of a future where the arteries of global trade could also be the tools of global restoration. And it leaves us with this one really powerful question. Could our biggest polluters actually become our ocean's newest and most unlikely protectors? Thanks for tuning in.